Once upon a time, in an ancient forest untouched by human hands, lived a young woman named Ella. She was kind and gentle, with long, wavy brunette hair, and her life was as humble as it was lonely. Raised by a stepmother who saw her as little more than a servant, Ella had little to call her own, except for her love of the forest. Her days were spent gathering herbs, tending to injured animals, and whispering her dreams to the trees. The forest was her only refuge, a world filled with ancient trees, enchanted creatures, and hidden springs. It seemed to understand her in ways her family never could, offering solace with its gentle sounds and soft light. One morning, as the mist clung to the trees and the first rays of sunlight danced through the branches, Ella knelt by a patch of lavender. She picked each sprig carefully, placing it into her basket. Around her, animals gathered: a squirrel, a pair of robins, a rabbit, each seeming drawn to her warmth and kindness. She murmured softly to them, smiling as they nuzzled closer. To Ella, these creatures were her family, the forest her home. But her stepfamily did not understand. When Ella returned to the cottage that evening, her stepmother met her with crossed arms, her lips twisted in a scowl. "Where have you been, Ella?" she demanded. "I told you to clean the floors and make supper. And here you are, wandering the woods with those silly plants." Ella bowed her head, clutching her basket tightly. "I was only gathering herbs, stepmother. They're for the winter, helpful for healing." "Enough of your nonsense," her stepmother snapped, grabbing the basket and spilling the herbs across the floor. "We have no need for your foolish charms. Do as you're told, or you'll be gathering herbs to eat for supper." Her stepsisters laughed, watching from the hearth with smirks. "Perhaps you should just live in the forest with your animal friends," one of them sneered. Ella said nothing, gathering her spilled herbs in silence. That night, while the house slept, she slipped out into the moonlit forest. She sat by the stream, drawing her knees to her chest, and gazed at her reflection in the water, feeling the weight of her solitude. The night was alive around her, the hoot of an owl, the soft rustle of leaves, the murmur of the stream, and she felt a peace she could find nowhere else. Suddenly, a soft hoot broke the silence, and Ella looked up to see a large owl with glowing eyes perched above her on a low branch. His feathers shimmered like silver, and his gaze held a wisdom that seemed ancient. "Good evening, Ella," the owl said, inclining his head. Ella's eyes widened. You can speak." "Indeed," he replied. "I am Oriel, guardian of this forest. I have watched you for many years, Ella. Your kindness has not gone unnoticed." Ella's heart skipped a beat. "But why would a guardian of the forest care for someone like me?" "Because you see the forest as it truly is, a living, breathing part of this world. You respect it, care for it, and it welcomes you as one of its own." Oriel paused, his gaze softening. "And now, the forest has a gift for you." Oriel told Ella of the Woodland festival, a rare celebration held only when the forest's magic was at its height. Hosted by Prince Rowan, the festival welcomed all who loved the land. The prince, Oriel explained, shared a deep bond with the forest, a connection passed down through generations. Ella listened, her heart swelling with hope. But the memory of her stepfamily's scorn tempered her excitement. "The festival sounds beautiful," she whispered, "but my family would never allow me to go." "Sometimes, dear Ella, magic finds a way for those who are truly worthy," Oriel said with a knowing smile. With a graceful sweep of his wings, he scattered a flurry of silver feathers around her before taking flight, disappearing into the night. 2 nights later, Ella's stepfamily prepared for the festival, their chatter filling the cottage. They spoke of dresses and dances, of catching the prince's eye, all while ignoring Ella's quiet presence. When they finally left, Ella waited until the cottage was silent, then slipped into the forest, drawn to the distant lights and laughter. Standing beneath a grand oak, she looked toward the festival with a wistful smile. "If only I could be there," she murmured, "just for one night." A rustling filled the air, and suddenly, Oriel appeared, his eyes bright with a gentle smile. "Your wish has been heard, Ella. The forest grants you its magic." With a wave of his wing, a breeze swirled around her, and Ella watched in awe as her simple clothes transformed into a gown woven from petals, leaves, and silver moonlight. Her hair glowed, adorned with delicate flowers, and her feet felt light, as if she were floating. Oriel placed a charm around her neck. "Wear this, and remember," he said, "you must return by midnight, or all will return as it was." Ella embraced him, overcome with gratitude, and made her way toward the festival, heart pounding with excitement. The Woodland Festival was alive with magic. Lanterns floated in the air, casting soft light over villagers and magical creatures alike. Ella stepped into the clearing, her face alight with wonder. People turned to look at her, mesmerized by her beauty. And there, watching her from the edge of the crowd, was Prince Rowan. He approached her, his gaze warm and kind. "Good evening," he said, his voice gentle. "Would you grant me this dance?" Ella, taken aback, looked up into his eyes and nodded. They moved gracefully to the music, their laughter filling the night. They spoke of their love for the forest, sharing their dreams and hopes, feeling as though they had known each other all their lives. Rowan led her to a hidden spring, a pool of shimmering water. "This is the forest fountain," he said. "Legend says that those who drink from it will see their heart's deepest wish." Ella dipped her fingers into the cool water, feeling a warmth spread through her as she saw a vision of herself in a home of her own, surrounded by the beauty of the forest. But across the festival, her stepsisters spotted her. Jealousy flared as they recognized her, but every time they tried to approach, a mystical fox, sent by Oriel, blocked their path. As midnight approached, Ella felt a tug at her heart. She turned to Rowan, sorrow filling her eyes. "I have to go," she whispered. "Please, stay," he pleaded. "Just a little longer." "I wish I could," she said, pulling her hand away. With one last look, she fled into the forest, her gown unraveling into petals and leaves. She left behind the charm Oriel had given her, which Rowan picked up, clutching it tightly. The next day, determined to find her, Rowan followed the charm's pull through the forest until he reached her cottage. When Ella opened the door, she gasped, seeing him standing there. "Ella," he said softly, "I've been searching for you." They spoke of their shared love for the forest, and Rowan confessed his admiration for her strength and kindness. But before they could embrace, a shadow loomed over them. The sorceress who had cursed the festival appeared, rage flashing in her eyes. She accused Rowan of trespassing and threatened to destroy the forest. Ella, undeterred, stood by Rowan's side. With her healing magic and his strength, they defeated the sorceress, restoring peace to the land. As villagers gathered in celebration, Ella and Rowan shared a kiss under the great oak tree, vowing to protect the forest together, bound by love and the enduring magic of the earth. Ella and Rowan became guardians of the forest, their love a beacon to all who sought the wonder and peace of the enchanted woods. If you enjoyed this story, please give it a thumbs up, share it with someone who loves fairy tales, and subscribe to our channel. Your support helps us bring more magical stories to life. Thank you for watching, and may you find a little enchantment in your everyday.